happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I am JJ Wang. He is the bearded one, DJ Dub. And with our powers combined, we are the Fantasy Couriers.
Well, here we go. It is the end of May, Memorial Day weekend, and this is kind of cool, JJ Wang. We usually it's our ugly mugs, but we got a lot stronger this week. It appears with a special guest tonight. So, uh, JJ Wang, anything going on in life before we introduce our special guest? You want to get us kicked off?
Not really. I'm pretty lame. So yeah, just celebrating the 3-day weekend off of work. I mean, that's pretty much the best thing I got. But yeah, go ahead.
Did you get rained out this weekend? It's rainy as all get up
rain.
in Virginia.
It was a lot of rain.
Any no reffing?
No. I quit reffing for the week.
Oh, so yeah, so he's good and clear. Usually reffing Sunday, and then you're dead tired. But as I mentioned, we have a special guest tonight. This is Garett Kiley from Rising Empire Studios. Through Fantasy Turf Wars, Corey has connections with you all, and we were promoting Alpha Clash the entire season. If you want to go see some funny promos, I was telling him before that Susan would read the pre-written promo, and I'd be in the back throwing cards around, doing little sword battles, having a little fun with it. But we were excited. I reached out to the guys over there and said, "Hey, do you want to come on this show?" And they said Garett. Rich said Garett is our football guy. So Garett,
yeah,
with us.
Yes, much more so than Ridge. So I'll definitely take that mantle. But yeah, appreciate you having me and talking. So Rising Empire Studios started 4 going on 5 years now. Actually, over 5 years now, going on 6. So since we started Formation. What we do is we make tabletop games, comic books, novels, all sorts of things in the fandom. And then we've been known for our IP Alpha Clash, which was an original IP. We do a trading card game. We've had now 7 going on 8 booster sets with the trading card game, as well as we do some PvE boxed game products, so you can play solo, cooperative, or versus with our game. And there's multiple different formats. We have international distribution and tournaments all over the world. We just had our national championships in the Philippines this weekend. Ooh. And there's tournaments kind of going on a lot of different countries, and we've been growing on that front. And then we also have a comic book series. It's a very lore-driven universe. Story matters a lot. This all started with a story. This whole thing for us started with a graphic novel first, before even the game. We've got a new comic series coming out this fall with Mark Waid, which is maybe one of, if not the biggest names in comics. He's done like over 2,000 titles for Marvel and DC, and a lot of the most famous comic arcs and characters and things have been under Mark's name. He doesn't do a lot of indie projects, and he basically just liked what we were doing and wanted to write a story in our universe, and we were shocked that he wanted to be a part of it. So he's co-authoring a whole series for us that'll be out this fall. We've got a 500-page novel. We've got a board game. We've got all things kind of under that banner. So that's what we do. We do fun and games for a living.
So who writes the stuff? If you don't mind.
Yeah.
Because I mean, at 500 pages, I feel like that's a lot.
It is a lot. I have probably some sitting here within arm's reach, but it is AJ Light. So there's 4 of us that are partners in the business, and our author is one of the 4 partners in the business, along with Josh Horton and then Ridge and myself. And so he is an extremely talented writer. Like, the reason we got Mark Waid is because we sent Mark his novel and some of his comic books, and he was impressed enough with the writing that he wanted to co-author a series with him. So he is extremely talented, but it was internal writer. Our writer is on staff, so that makes it a little easier.
Nice.
It's in my Amazon queue right now. I just bought the book, so I was like, I got to get through it, and I got to sit down and stop moving. Best website for if you want to direct, we can put it on our show notes that you want to direct people. What do you
so
want
we
to
have
use?
alphaclashtcg.com is just kind of things all encompassing with Alpha Clash. And then all of our social medias are at Alpha Clash TCG or at Rising Empire Studios or some version of that on there. So we're pretty easy to find. And we're posting content pretty much daily on those channels. So good place to learn a little more about us.
Sweet. Yeah, we will put them in there. We will have that on there. I think I said that the address a gajillion times. AlphaClassTTG.com. It's spectacular. And I love Mark Wade. Mark Wade, I saw him do a comic panel in Baltimore years ago. And it was like a nice little cozy room, too. So we're all crammed in this room. Mark Wade's talking. It's just awesome to hear them. When I saw you all were writing with him.
He's been great to work with. Like, he really has been. Like, we've do a ton of video calls and talk and obviously work strongly together. He did an appearance and was at our booth at LA Comic-Con and did autograph signings at our booth and all sorts of stuff. So he's been really good to work with.
That's spectacular. And the cool thing is you all are, if I understood from Ridge correctly, you all are doing all of your distribution yourself. So you're not dealing with some of the big business, I guess. Is that the best way to say it? Or big companies?
Yeah, so we brought distribution in-house in America to go direct to stores. And so we were with several of the major distributors in America. It had a lot of its challenges. There are positives to it, but you're giving up a lot in return for some of those opportunities. And what we're really just hearing from the stores and the players of, like, they were having trouble getting access to it, or things were sold out and not getting reordered, or they weren't getting our marketing materials and demo materials, and just all sorts of, you start running through this chain of problems, and it's like, how do we fix it? And so in America, we brought distribution in-house. We still do it distribution internationally with different partners, because very hard to go direct to store out of the country. And so we do still do distribution internationally, but yeah, here we brought it in-house and start partnering with game stores directly. It gives them better margins, and it's better for us as well, and just better customer service, better support.
That's so cool. Yeah, I'm hoping. I was telling him before the podcast that I've got a box here that I want to go to my local comic book store. My son likes to go, and it's really cool. They're a gaming store. Comic book stores are more or less gaming stores anyway. But I get to nerd out there because I'm a GI Joe guy, and they have the entire aircraft carrier with all of its pieces in the store on model. I go and I just drool every time I go. And have a little fun, and they're super friendly too. So I'm talking to them because they're there, and they also have a place up at Myrtle Beach, or down at Myrtle Beach, I guess. So they got a couple of stores. It's called Keep It Strange Comics. So I'll keep you all updated with what I hear from there. But the cool thing about the show is we're going to have Garrett here for 2 episodes. He's going to be here for this week's episode and next week. So if you enjoy it, I'm going to ask him a couple more questions to start next week's episodes about, if you want to hear how he got into the gaming industry, how this all came about, how he's living the coolest life in the world that I kind of dream of as a big time nerd. Jason knows, but my son is named Grayson intentionally because I love Batman. So he's named after Dick Grayson person. So he loves Nightwing and Batman. His room's got it all around, so it made it spectacular.
Makes sense why you like Mark Wade too. He's done some Dick Grayson stuff.
Did he do that? Yeah. So it's spectacular. Was he? No. I'm trying to think what he was writing recently. Oh, it's been a while. But anyway, I could tangent for a bit. But let's go into you. This is a fantasy football show. So anybody who likes fantasy football, here we go. We'll come back and talk the other world that I love as well. It's all great stuff. And this is the world that Jason knows more. He probably has about your comic knowledge is about what, JJ Wang, movies? Did you ever read comics as a kid?
I do watch YouTube videos about Avengers and more like the most powerful the superhumans in comics. I do watch a lot of YouTube videos about trying to find the most powerful one. That's about as far as my knowledge goes.
So then each guy name one. Who's the most powerful in any universe? If you name one of your guys, you got to tell us what he does. Who would win?
So from what I gather, Richards is like the kid. He's like the most powerful comic book character that that everybody agrees upon. There are some that are more powerful than him, but they're like in a whole nother level. But yeah, like in Century, evidently Century is really powerful too.
Yeah. He's
But
like Superman on cocaine, right?
I think the young Richards is probably a consensus like top guy.
Who would you throw out there, Garrett?
In the entire
And
comics
yes,
universe.
if there was like a battle royale, who would take it?
I
I
mean,
mean,
it's hard not to go with all, the like god level intergalactic like world eating
Yeah.
characters in
Well,
the
yeah, they were much
Marvel's
strong.
universe,
Yeah.
but if I was just gonna break it way down to like people I like and like more will just like beat everybody up, like I love Thor.
ooh.
I mean, still god level, still extremely strong, but not maybe that like he's gonna swallow a planet kind of strong. But I do like him.
And
Yeah,
then,
I'd throw out the World Breaker. I'd go with a little Hulk. Like Hulk has this, like he can get the snot kicked out of him, and he's still going. All you gotta do basically is throw him in a spaceship and send him to space. I guess that's how you stop him a couple years ago and give him his own planet to rule. But Incredible
yeah,
Hulk, he can take a beating and give a licking, and he's up there.
and also I've learned that Magneto is really undersold in the movies, but evidently he's probably like right there with like the most powerful guys. I didn't like if you just watch the movies like I do, you're like, yeah, he seems pretty powerful. But like then you turn around and like read about him in the comics and he's like, yeah, he's like probably like the most powerful. I mean, so I thought that's kind of interesting too.
Watch the last episode. Have you watched X-Men '97 that they just released?
No, I have not.
Watch that one. That's a really good continuation of the one from the '90s. And that last episode, you'll see him just. You're
Yeah.
like, oh man, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah,
Especially the
evidently
kids show.
he's pretty bad. He's pretty badass, evidently. So.
So, as we're jumping in now, we're here for football. I got us on a tangent here. Garrett, how long have you been doing fantasy? Tell us about we'll hit your favorite team, but give us your fantasy story.
Yeah, so the first time I remember doing fantasy football was like 2009, 2010. I don't know if I played prior to that. Really, I did all sorts of fantasy pools and pick'ems and contests and family contests and that kind of stuff. But like really getting into fantasy football was like around 2009, 2010. And I have played with some of my friends from high school. Now we're all like 40, and we have played together for 15 plus years in some keeper leagues and all sorts of stuff. And we stay in constant contact throughout football season at least. And we have a group chat and all sorts of things, which has been kind of a fun way to keep everybody, in contact with each other. And it's had some different iterations, but kind of similar group playing together. And then I've played in some work leagues and some other friend things. And then I played in the Fantasy Turf Wars League. And yeah, so I've been in a fair mix of them now over the last 15 or so years.
So do you prefer redraft or keeper or dynasty? Have you done dynasty?
I haven't
That's
done
our baby.
dynasty. We always just do redraft or keepers on the leagues I've been in. I wouldn't have said that I liked keepers prior, but I've grown to like it a lot more. I've just gotten to where like I'm rooting for players and I like them and I keep them for a couple of years, and you got to decide when it's time to let them go. And it's like I don't care at all about this other team, but I actually really like them and root for them because I've had this one guy for 3 years on my fantasy team, so I think it's been cool to do the keepers.
Yeah, we you'll hear us. A lot of ours comes from dynasty. I'm in a bajillion dynasty leagues, way too many, and so because that's where you get to keep everybody, and and those guys become your babies. Like one of your guys you're going to talk about. Like I got him in like third, fourth round of a rookie draft. And I was so excited. My brother-in-law would.
I will say I do treat him like your baby or whatever, but I'm getting to a point in my life where it's time that I need them to move on. Like I need to get them off. Like I'm just bored. I'm just bored with them. I'm like I don't want to get rid of them because they're good. I'm probably not going to get the same thing in return. But I'm just tired. Like I mean, I love Josh Allen, right? I love him, but like I mean, I've had him on my team for like 5-6 years, and I'm like, you know what? Like I'm just bored with it. Like, would it be crazy for me to trade Josh Allen because I'm bored? Is that a wise strategy? Probably
I
not.
would do it. I would
You
do
would?
it. Yeah.
I know why you do it. We'll talk about that later. But what's also that's the thing with Dynasty too is we try to make it as much like NFL. So you've got to trade, or else you're going to have a team of all one of your favorite guys, like 35, 38-year-old dudes. I mean, Stafford was great to have last year. In 2 years, I'm holding the bag. No one's going to win.
Mhm.
So.
Yep.
So we got Garrett in here for the first part, which is going to be in 3 parts, which is great because right now it's been kind of quiet in the league. I mean, right now, the closest thing we have, we're not going to hit politics, is the 2 guys on the Giants arguing over Trump. That's about all that came in the news this week. Jack Stark introduced him, and who was the D lineman that got all ticked
Carter.
off?
I think it was Abdul Carter. I think.
And he's like, dude, we're cool. You know what I mean? Here's a big story. That's it. As we're going on, this is the time of year we call just don't do anything stupid. But there's going to be a couple guys.
Do. Yep.
So yeah, you get money, you get to go. But what we're gonna do is this is our series of episodes called Top Guys. Top Guys are guys we like. Maybe it's a guy we're rooting for this year. Maybe it's a guy we have on our team that we just want them to continue to do good, or maybe we want to hit the bandwagon early, or maybe I just want to sound smart and I'm going to totally fall on my face. That could happen as well. So this week we're going to introduce a couple of our top guys. We're going to tell the group why we think this is a guy we love, maybe where we think they're going to go, and why we like this guy this year. And then everybody will give a quick rebuttal. And then next week, we'll give some more top guys with Garrett. He's given us 5 top guys in his homers. You get a couple this week. You get some next week. And then in 2 weeks, JJ Wang and I will conclude because we do a top 10 top guys. And then we come back right before the season and give us our ultimate top guy. Although I'm pretty sure I know who yours is this year, JJ Wang. I think everybody does if they listen. All right. So since you're our guest, Garrett, tell us your first guy. Top guy, a guy you love, you're rooting for, or you think they'll succeed, or why this guy is your top guy?
So last year in my fantasy league that I've been playing in with my high school friends, I haven't won the league for many years, and I finally won it this past year, and pretty much solely because of 2 people, and so they quickly became people I watched nonstop. One of them is Puka Nacua, who was not, I wouldn't even say I liked him until this last year. And then he was my keeper, one of my keepers in the league. I kept him and he had a killer season. And I'm hoping he does it again because I plan on keeping him again unless something changes in the next few months.
So Puka last year, he was only wide receiver 1, 1,700 yards, 10 touchdowns, 129 receptions. They just signed Matthew Stafford to another year. Everybody's all busting their chops for drafting Simpson out of Alabama. So Puka comes in this year, 1,700 yards, 10 touchdowns, $129 catches. Is that repeatable, or what would you be happy with? What would you say is the floor?
If he was like 75% of what he was last year, he would still be like one of the best receiver from a week to week basis, especially on my team. I'd be very happy with that.
100 catches, 1,400 yards, and 7 touchdowns.
I would take that.
What do you think, JJ?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know about numbers necessarily, but I would expect him to be a top 5 wide receiver. I mean, I'm drafting him to be like my number 1. So if he finishes anywhere outside, the top 5, I'm kind of disappointed. Whatever the numbers are. I mean, if you finish as a top 5 receiver, I'm satisfied that, I drafted you. I'm a little disappointed if I did draft you, to be first and you did finish 5. I might be a little disappointed, but yeah, just be a top 3 guy and, whatever the numbers are, they are. So that's all I'm really looking at, honestly.
I mean, as long as he stops trying to eat people in the car after going out for a night on the town.
That sounds like a good plan, I guess. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know what people do in their life. I mean, who knows?
I'm more worried about him off the field probably than on. But
he's at the rehab center, and they did give him off a day to go to OTAs. So he's at a air quote rehab center. I think it's going to be how we're rolling. Yeah, love some Puka. He's my boy. JJ Wang. Who's the first guy you want? And they don't have to be in order. You can just jump around wherever you want to.
Well, this is probably my favorite guy. I mean, I could probably say he'd be my number one guy, probably even when we get to the end of this or the beginning of the season. But that's Tyler Shuck. Now, to be fair, I have fallen victim to the half season, of being good. There were half a season of them being really good. I'm like, yeah, they can carry this into the next season, and it's a failure. I have fallen for that a lot. I tend to do it happens to me every year. But I think Tyler Shuck is legit. I mean, he came in the second half of the season and he was pushing to be like a top 12. I think he was in the top 12 towards the end of the season, last, 6, 7 games. His team's only gotten better. Olave was finally the number one guy. They drafted Jordan Tyson. They got Achan as running back. So it only helped them on offense. I think the offense gets better. So, yeah, I mean, I got him on my team. I want him to do well. So I'm going to root for him. And, I mean, if he's good, I could be like, yeah, I told you so.
So yeah, it looks like top 12 from week 10 on. He was quarterback 12, 23, 12, 6, 16, 16, 9, and 4, which probably ends up right there, right at a cusp, right on the cusp of QB2. Are you into Shuck at all? Like JJ Wang's been all about Shuck all off season. What is there some head shaking here? What do you think?
I mean, I wouldn't put him on my top guys list in terms of just people I'm a fan of, but I think he's a great player. He's out of my radar.
He's currently quarterback 21. So the good news for JJ Wang is in most drafts, unless you're in an all New Orleans Saints team draft, you'll be able to get him. He's behind like Baker Mayfield, behind Malik Willis, behind Jordan Love. So Kyler Murray
is he really behind Malik Willis? That is nonsense.
Well, you know why? We'll talk about that later. It's running quarterbacks.
Legs,
you can be on a terrible team. Malik's going to run for 1,000 yards.
Yeah,
but we'll get to that next show.
He's not running for 1,000 yards.
It could very easily. But anyway, I'm going to stick. So my people that listen or know me know I'm a Miami Dolphins fan, and that just sucks because I wasn't born in 1972, or I wasn't alive in 1972, or a kid or something. My buddy lived through it, and he's like, "Oh, it's so great." I'm like, "Yeah." I watched Marino be great and win nothing, and then we've been ever since I've been dating my wife, we've never won a playoff game. Well, we never won a playoff game in this century. So
yeah,
it stinks. It stinks. But Josh McDaniel came in with just amazing hype. That team just boom. They were tearing the roof off. You had the running backs were killing it, the receivers were killing it, and then something happened that the wheels fell off that bus. Well, is it possible that McDaniels is very much the next Norv Turner? The next, what's his name up in New England? Josh
McDaniels.
I'm calling him Mike McDaniels. Who I'm thinking of. I've called him Josh McDaniels the whole time. So that Mike McDaniel, that he is like Josh McDaniels up in New England. That he's a great offensive coordinator because he killed it in San Francisco. So, who's the new offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers? Mike McDaniels, and he has running back Marion Hampton, a bulldozer going through the line. Justin Herbert's going to kill it this year. So Marion Hampton is a guy that in redraft, I'm going to be looking at him everywhere. Currently, he's setting it like RB10. So you're going to get him second, third round. Last year, he started out, okay, 48 yards, 24. Then he had a breakout game of 70, 128. Then he got hurt for a big chunk of change and came back, and he was okay towards the end. But running in the McDaniels system, running backs have been very successful. I mean, he made Devon Achane into what he is, even though the Dolphins sucked. So I'm thinking Justin Herbert to the moon. Whoever he ends up, is it Ladd, whoever it is there, to the moon, and Marion Hampton. I think Marion Hampton's the guy that I'm excited for this year. And I forgot there's a Ladd McConkey hater. I'm not a Ladd McConkey guy, but AJ Wang's face for all those listening is spectacular. But Marion Hampton this year easily top 10 running back. If he can catch some balls, he could sneak up there into no, he's not going to be up there with Gibbs and Robinson, and McCaffrey, I don't think, but somewhere in that like second tier of running backs.
I think it's possible. Does Keaton Mitchell worry you at all?
As much as he worried me with Derrick Henry. Yeah. I mean, I'm picking him up in places because he could do something because McDaniels likes two running backs, but I've heard that name for years.
Yeah, I mean, I like him. I like Hampton. I think he's a really good player. I wouldn't. I mean, that he'd probably be one of my top guys if he wasn't already going to mention him. I don't want to have the same guy. But yeah, I'm a fan. I think he's going to have a big season. I think they're going to run a lot.
I mean, Garrett, so we know you're a super Chargers fan. You love rooting for the Chargers.
I love the Chargers, yeah. I am a Chiefs fan, which I know everybody hates now, but it's funny because I live in Iowa now. I grew up outside of Kansas City in St. Joe, Missouri as a kid. I'm 40. The Chiefs pretty much stunk for 31 years of my life for the most part. And then it's been kind of on a heater, and everybody felt bad for you, and then it's like you finally win, it's great, and then you win too much, and then everybody starts to not like you. So, but yeah, not a Chargers fan. So
Patriots fans are saying, "Hi, welcome to our world."
Yes, exactly.
You're like, I would love to be there. That was my
I would love
goal.
that. Yeah, I would love to have a few more wins.
So on the fantasy side, like real life, you hope Amari Hampton runs for like 2.3 yards a carry and scores like a touchdown, maybe not even that. But in fantasy, what do you think the chances that are you, as a Chiefs fan? You guys are. We don't really know what's going to happen with the team. It's sort of it's
idea.
Going one way. Are you worried about like the Broncos are the team to beat in the West?
Yeah, right, Broncos and Chargers honestly are both like. If the Chiefs won, if they were 11-6 or 6-11, I don't know what. Right now it could be probably anywhere in between. I don't really know. Depends on the health, but more so, it's like the Broncos went from bad to great, pretty short amount of time, and if Nick's is healthy and they're good and everything else, and Chargers, I think they got a great coach and a good team, and I'm not too worried about the Raiders, hopefully this year, but Chargers and Broncos are pretty good.
Yeah, it's JJ Wang. What do you think that the West? How is it going to be tight? How's it going to filter out?
I think it's going to be real tight. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if the Chargers finish first in the division. I mean, maybe the Denver takes a little bit of a step back, and the Chargers are a little bit better, and they win 12 games. I mean, you could be first in the division. It wouldn't surprise me. I'm rooting for the Chargers in that division.
I got to root for something this year. I don't know what it's going to be because the Dolphins are going to stink.
I don't really want to root for the Chargers because then in turn I would have to root for Lad McConkey. So But then I don't want to root for the Broncos either because then I have to root for Bo Nix. So might just root for the Raiders to be honest.
Come on. There's more room. There's more room at Arrowhead. Take another fan.
Justin Fields did go to the Chiefs. So he's
got to be out in Alspire, though.
That does give me a reason to actually like the Chiefs. So there's a.
But you have watched Justin Fields play football, right? Or attempt?
Yeah, but the Chiefs can run QB sneak again. They can put Fields in at least, and
I think
now it's back in the
plays the game.
I think Andy Reid could be the difference.
I love Andy Reid. So who's that other guy? Who's that other guy, Garrett, that got you over the hump and helped you raise the trophy last year?
It was Amon-Ra St. Brown. I was very fortunate to have Nakua and St. Brown together on my fantasy team, and they pretty much just rode their back the entire way to the championship last year. And so those two were lighting up the scoreboard a lot of weeks in my fantasy league. And those will be my two keepers again this year unless something strongly changes. So I'm going to try to do it again.
Amon-Ra, I'm getting in trouble this offseason. I love Amon-Ra, been on the board, but he's that guy that I'm underappreciating his greatness. JJ Wang's called me out because I'm sitting there talking about other guys jumping up and down, and Amon-Ra St. Brown was the wide receiver 3. So you had wide receiver 1, wide receiver 3 in there last year, but he's a lunch pail kind of guy, right? He just shows up, does what he's got to do, doesn't raise any fuss, and we just call him the sun god. JJ Wang, Amon-Ra St. Brown, right? You've been busting my chops. How high is he for you?
I mean, you was his biggest fan, coming out of college, and here he is. All he does is produce as like a top 3 guy, and we never draft him as we're all of a sudden JSN's the new guy. And, I like JSN as much as the next guy, but if I had to be really honest with myself, if I need am I going to pick Amon-Ra, who has done it every year on a consistent basis, or am I going to pick JSN, who's been the guy once? Um, I, I would probably be like, you know what, I'm going to go Amon-Ra St. Brown because he's reliable, and he always finishes as a top 5 guy, and a lot of people aren't going to draft him as a top 5 guy. So he's obviously a value, right?
He seems to be. It's interesting. Like I told him, you caught me in there. I mean, other than in 21, he was wide receiver 23, but then he's been the last 3 years wide receiver 3.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, that's
Killing it.
consistent. So
Yeah, maybe none surprising that my top guys are 2 of the top 3 wide receivers in the league last year.
Figure that one.
But so they are top guys, but they're my homer picks because I was on like a 10-year drought of winning that league, so I got to thank those guys.
oh, I get it. I got a league that I should have won last year, and then my team just died in the playoffs. Like the literal last thing my buddy wrote on the chat was, "Poor Adam," as I lost the 3rd place game with this team that had like hundreds of points more than everybody else, just demolished. So, JJ Wang, who's your second guy?
Yeah, so my second guy is I think he's a repeat of last year. He was on my list last year. Because of the love that I had for Drake May, I was a big New England Patriots fan. So I said Travion Henderson. It worked out okay. I mean, he ended up being like a low end RB2. But he didn't get a lot of the work Ramondre Stevenson was still getting, a bulk of the carries, even though he had fumbling issues. But when Ramondre was gone, Henderson looked good. He averaged over 5 yards a carry. Had like 35 catches. Had double digit touchdowns if you combine them. So I'm not really sure how many more touches I want him to have. I mean, he had like 180 rushes. Maybe 200 rushes is probably the most you want him to get because then efficiency starts to settle in, kind of like how Tony Pollard, was super efficient with the Cowboys. Then he goes to Tennessee and he's not as efficient. So I think the more work that he gets, the inefficiency is going to show up. But I mean, I don't know how high he can get. I mean, I think he can get to be in the low end RB1 with a few more carries. But I'm still a big Drake May fan. I'm still going to be rooting for the Patriots. So I'm still going to be rooting for this guy a lot. So I got him on my team. He's on the Patriots. Like the better he can do, the better it's going to make me feel. So.
Travion Henderson, currently being drafted as the RB22, finished
Yeah.
RB19 last year. Garrett, are you a Henderson guy, or where do you feel like, is he a guy that would be on your football team, or do you just hate the Patriots that much? Or
I was trying to decide if I could put anybody from Patriots on my list or not, but
AJ Brown soon?
yeah. Yeah, I think like both of JJ's players are like, so far they're like good players I'd be happy to have on my fantasy team. They probably wouldn't be my first pick at that position if that was like, my number one guy, but I think that he's got good upside and I think he's very playable for sure on your team.
He is very hard to buy in dynasty leagues. Like if people have him, they love Henderson because they loved how they saw that game where he had 148. He had those 2 really big boom games. So I can't get him for anything at all. So it's an interesting. He's an interesting cat and he's polarizing. I love Ramondre. Ramondre has been one of my favorite fantasy guys for a good while, and
I think the Patriots are going to be pretty good again, and I would say that'll probably help.
Yeah, we're recording this version before AJ Brown, so I wasn't going to admit. So AJ Brown supposedly is getting traded to the Patriots, but today some news is coming that they're sort of getting cold feet about giving up a 1st-round pick for AJ Brown. Chances that AJ Brown goes to the Patriots to fill in there.
I think still a pretty good chance. I think people just need something to talk about, so they're just trying to throw some stuff out there. Maybe they can negotiate, maybe lower the deal or something. Who knows? But yeah, I think ultimately he still ends up there.
Yeah, good chance.
Yeah, I mean, because if I'm the Eagles, I'm like Patriots. You get AJ Brown. You went to the Super Bowl with
Mm-hmm.
the nothing. So put him in there. Your pick's going to be the 32nd pick. You're going to trade out of the first round anyway. So just get AJ Brown instead of some second round jobber and a future third rounder or something, and go for it. So I'm gonna close out this episode with one of my least favorite players when he got drafted. Just did not like him. Thought he was gonna become nothing, and he hasn't been anything spectacular. He's 27 years old now. Christian Watson, now wide receiver one for the Green Bay Packers. I've never seen a player tear his ACL and come back looking better. Before the ACL, he had a couple flashes here or there. He was in that crowded receiver. We would always say the Green Bay Packers are like a team of wide receiver twos. And then he came back, and the dude looked pretty solid last year. 35 receptions, 611 yards, and 17.5 yards per reception from week 8 on. He had only 3 – he had some big boom games, 2 quiet games, but it was against Denver, who's a spectacular secondary, and Chicago, who's starting to pick up a little bit. But he looked great versus Baltimore. I mean, the first Chicago game, he just obliterated them. 89 yards, 2 touchdowns. So he's going to now step into wide receiver one for Jordan Love, because I don't see much. Golden didn't show me a whole lot. They just signed Reed, but those are just gadget quick guys, and they're the same player more or less. He's their big receiver. You either are excited for him like I am this year and trying to pick him up on the cheap, because he's not a guy you're going to draft in the first few rounds. If you're getting Christian Watson, I just had him pulled up. Christian Watson currently is wide receiver 25. So we're looking later in your draft, but he could be that guy that you have on your team. You're like, hey, he's my wide receiver 3. All of a sudden, 1,000 yards, 8 to 10 touchdowns, boom, right there we go. Christian Watson. That's why I'm liking him this year. Am I stupid?
I can see where you're going, but then – from what it looks like, you're just falling into the same trap that I fall into, where a guy has a good half of a season that's never really had anything good previously in his career. So he has one good half of the season, like, yeah, I like this guy, like the way he's looking. So I definitely see where you're coming from. I mean, I enjoy it. But, I mean, it is Christian Watson. I mean, it's tough. I mean, I think it's going to take more than half of a good season for me to get over the bitterness of Christian Watson. I want to like Christian Watson. I do.
You love Trey Lance. Come on.
Hey, I'm still waiting for. I like Trey Lance. I can't help it. I was wrong. Sure. I apologize, but I think I need more than a half a good season, but I want to like him. But I think I might miss the initial jump on the boat of Christian Watson. I'm gonna wait.
Garrett, what do you think? Christian Watson, is he?
It's not a name that screams wide receiver one to out of the gate when you think about it, but somebody's got to. So they're throwing that ball to somebody in Green Bay this year. So if it's not Golden, it's probably Watson.
Well, we've been saying that for like 4 years, and it's never happened, right? I mean, it's always like one of them's got to be the guy, and no, maybe none of them is the guy. But I mean, if there is going to be a guy, I think Christian Watson would be the logical choice. I mean,
what if we're bold? What if Wicks is in Philadelphia now, has the best year of his career? Dobbs is in New England, has the best year of his career, and Christian Watson ends up being a guy. Do we see the problem here?
Maybe, yeah.
It's going to be kept in Utah State there.
Yeah, maybe just never. There's never going to be a guy.
But yeah, so one funny note, if you want to look up something fun, did anybody see that Johnny Manziel did a cage fight last night?
I did watch that. It's Bob
beat up some YouTuber. So if you want a fun video, it wasn't very long, but he beat up some YouTuber.
Also, there was another. You remember Lane Stevenson, the basketball player for Indiana?
Oh yeah.
He also was in a fight against Malik Beasley, another basketball player So that was kind of interesting.
So tall guys beating the snot out of each
Yeah, I
other.
mean, they were just tall, lanky guys. They looked weird out there boxing. It's like some tall, lanky guys.
So JJ Wang, give us some wisdom, and those of you that listen to us regularly, check us out next week. Garrett will be on here. We won't spend 20 minutes talking football. I mean, talking comics. We're going to get a little bit into him here, a little comic to get him started. But really quick before we close out, Garrett, give us the websites, your handles, real quick, and then JJ Wang, give us some wisdom.
Yeah, alphaclashtcg.com and alphaclashtcg on pretty much every social channel. Good place to find us.
All right, so I just got a quick question. There's a poll going up in my league. I don't know which way I want to vote. I kind of know which way I want to vote, but it's, should we add a second tight end position? What do y'all say?
You hate tight ends.
I hate tight ends. They're worthless.
I've never no.
No,
I don't. It's not
tight
for
end
me.
premium.
It is tight end premium.
That's the catch. So I mean, it helps to value. If it's tight end premium, I would say yes, because the thing is, in tight end premium, the value, people overpay for tight ends, so it makes you have to strategize a little different as you're doing it.
Yeah,
And I love tight ends. I have a tight end university shirt that I wear every now and then.
Well, we'll see. I don't like tight ends, and I don't have a tight end university shirt. So, as always, trust yourself and trust the process.